Hi. Today I want to try a card with you. I have a bunch of leftover things that I'm going to work with. And this is Graphic 45, Time to Flourish, and Once Upon a Springtime. These are stickers that were left over from a project I did. And I also have some chipboard that were left over, and we'll look at those later. This is also from Graphic 45. The paper that I'm using is from Heartfelt Creations, and this is the Seasonal Wreath collection. It has different, there are quite a few papers in there. I had bought a couple sets of this one because I liked it, but they're really pretty. Lots of different things. So we're going to make this card today, and it's a step-up card. And you can find this on the Graphic 45 collection, how to do this. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did it. And hopefully this will be something fun that you can do for friends, family. I have one more ruler I have to get. You can kind of see my tools. I have a T ruler as well as a regular ruler. And my bone folder, pencil, 2 pairs of scissors, one in case I have to get really tight into places, and then my bigger scissors. I have a little bit of art glitter glue that I've poured into this while I clean out my big bottle. And I have some heavier cardstock. This is, I believe, 100 pound weight, so it's a little bit thicker. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get my cut board out first. And so we want to cut these 8.5 by 5.5, so we know that this is 8.5. So if we cut it to 5.5, we can get 2 cards out of 1 piece of paper. So that would be 2 cards. And I'm going to put this away for just now. A few little tips and tricks we're going to learn today, which will be fun. Okay. I'm going to get out my other see-through ruler. I might need that. Okay, so once we've cut 5.5 by 8.5, we're going to score. Oh, I guess I need this yet. I'm not quite done. We're going to score on the long side up, the 8.5 side. We're going to go ahead and score at 5.25. So I'm going to push everything, find my 4.25, sorry, 4.25, and that's our middle mark. Okay, now we can put our score and cut board away for a little while. We'll be getting it back out later because we're going to do some really fancy fun cutting. Okay, so now that I have my score, I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler and I'm going to mark 1.5 inches from the bottom and 1.5 inches from the top. So I have 2 marks. Now this is what I like about this. I'm going to go ahead and use my T-square, and I don't have to make 2 tick marks. I just have to make the 1, and it's right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that, because what this does is it lines up. It lines up on the bottom of your paper. There's a little ridge right under here that it will line up on your paper, and then it's square. Okay, So those are going to be cut lines, but they're not going to get cut the whole way. The other thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and I'm going to actually use my bigger ruler for this. So we're going to mark from left to right. We're going to mark 1 1/4 and then 6 1/4. Yeah, 6 1/4. So it's smaller on this end and larger on this end. And again, I'm going to take my T ruler, and if you have to make 2 tick marks, don't feel bad. Go ahead and do that so that you can line these up nicely. That's 1. I forget who taught me about the T ruler. I watch several videos and then I try and either improve or make something. And I don't remember who got me hip to the T markers. Okay, so once we've done that, what I want you to go ahead and do is get out your cut board, and we're going to cut between here and here and here and here. So we're going to leave all of this uncut. And the reason we did the line is because then it's easier to go ahead and line this up. Make sure it's all on the cut line. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this on this side because then I can. So it's 1 1/2 inches. So as I showed you yesterday, or the last video we did, there's a mark, and I'm hoping you can see this. This line on my razor shows me exactly where my cut is going to be. So when you have lines that intersect like this, you can use that line to line up here and start your cut here and then finish it here. So let me put this back on. And I'm going to go ahead, and we know it's 1 1/2 inches. So I'm going to move this past my line, and then I will put that tick mark right on the line, push it down, and as I pull it, I go slower when I get close to this line here. And then I line it up, and you can see, there we go. I'm going to erase this somehow. That didn't quite get square. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing on this side because we know it's 1 1/2 inches. And up to that line, down to that line. Okay, and so then we have the 2 cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this for now, just lightly. You don't have to press it or anything. So then we have some scoring that we need to do. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to flip this for now. And I need a scrap, any kind of scrap, or you could use your ruler, one of your smaller rulers. This is too big because then it gets stuck on the lip down at the bottom, or if I put it at the bottom it gets stuck up here. So I'm going to use a smaller ruler. This is my 6-inch, and I'm going to push this up and get my score. So the first score that we want to do is at the 1 1/4 mark. So I'm going to put this just a little bit past that the line where I can put my 1 1/4, which I don't want to score the entire thing. I just want to score between my cut lines. So this helps you to know which divot you're going to go into. And there I go. So that's our 1 1/4. The next one we want to do is a 2. So I'm going to move my ruler just past the divot. And you can see there's these little indentations. That's where you're scoring. So I move it to right past that 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my score tool. And again, you're just scoring between your 2 cut marks. So let me pull that. So I've just scored between here. Okay, so the next one we want to do is a 3-inch. And again, I'm going to move my ruler. It just makes finding that divot, otherwise you get off. And then it's crooked and it looks crazy. And then I want to do 4 1/4. And that one's already done. So the last one I want to do is a 6 1/4, which my board, I can't score on 6 1/4. So I'm going to flip it. And my line is at the 2 1/4, which that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and there we go. So we have all of our scores done. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and we're going to fold these. Now, I'm not going to press this one. I'm not going to burnish it, but I am going to burnish the others. So I'm going to start at the 1/4 inch on my side. I'm going to push it away from me, and then I will burnish. And I burnish quite heavily because this is heavier paper than just regular cardstock. So that one went down. The 2-inch I'm going to push towards myself, turn this over, and burnish it really well. And the next one, which is the 3-inch, I'm going to push away from me. And I will burnish that really well. Next one's just a little bit tricky. It's the 4 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and push that up while I push the last one back. Now, these should all line up. If not, just hold them in place and kind of force it. So then I'm going to go ahead and burnish this one. I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to burnish on this side. Make sure everything gets pushed down. So what you have is you have the basis for your stair-step triple fold. And it opens like that. So now you can decorate how you like, but the one thing that I did on the video, they pieced this, which it looks okay because you put embellishments on it. But I went ahead, and I know that this is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So I cut a piece just a little bit smaller, like I said, about maybe 1/8 of an inch. So we have, what did we say, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4? 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cut board. And I'm using the same yellow paper. So I'm going to do the 4 1/4. Now, if I do 4 1/4, it's going to cover exactly, and you can do that. But because I like to kind of go through and smudge everything, I like a little bit of that to show. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of my folds and smudge them. I'm going to smudge my inner edges. You don't have to do the back if you don't want to. I do. It just makes it look a little bit more finished. You can erase your pencil lines if you like. And then I go ahead and I do all of my outside. Let's get some more ink. And this is the one thing I've noticed with the girls on Graphic 45 when they make their videos. A lot of them don't do this. And this is a personal preference. If you don't like this, don't do it. I just want to teach you the basic skills so that you can make whatever you like, however you like. Okay, so there we go. We have all of that. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and kind of erase. No, I didn't get that one. I didn't do that inner one, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Oh, I didn't do these inside ones. Just always something I forget, isn't there? That's why I say I'm as close to perfect as I can get when I'm making something. And I put a lot of care and love into it, but sometimes I'm not perfect. Okay, so there's our basic. So we know that we want 4 1/4. Now if I cut it on 4 1/4, it's going to fit exact. And I want to take it down about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to do 4 1/8 cut. And then I'm going to go ahead and check. Yep, that's about perfect. I don't know if you can see, it's perfect enough for me. So then the other side is 5 1/2, and I'm going to cut 2 of these. So if I do 5 1/2, it's exact. I take it down to 5 3/8. And another one, 5 3/8. Okay, you know me, I keep all my scraps and it's pretty much out of the way. So I'm going to put this away for now. We're going to need it one more time, but what I want you to do is, first of all, we are going to, and I'm going to do it on this side so that I don't have to erase much. I'm going to kind of lay this right here like this, and I'm going to keep it away from my top and my bottom, but I'm going to make a tick mark. I'm going to push it up as close as I can to this. I hope you can see it. Let's do it that way. So right there is where I want to cut. And I know that these are 1 1/2 inches each. So actually, I am going to have to use this side. Sorry. Okay. So we do, there's my tick. It's just a little bit below. So I know that I have 1 1/2 inches on each side. So I want to make these just about 1 3/8. Actually, between the 1 3/8 and the 1 1/2, because we've already taken a little bit off each side. And so I'm going to move this, and I'm going to go to 1 1/2 and come just back between that line and that line. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is oh yeah, there it is. It's clear, so it fades in with everything. I want to go ahead and make a really light line across here. Okay, so this is the inside one. We're going to do that first, and then we'll do the outside pretty much the same way. So again, we're going to use that little line on our knife to stop and start. And I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to line up my 1 tick mark. And we know it's about 1 1/2, so I'm coming in between the 1 1/2 and 1 3/8. There we go. Now I'm going to stop cutting at that line. There we go. And then I'm going to turn it, and I know it's 1 1/2, so I'm going to put it between 1 1/2 and 1 3/8. And cut, stop at the line. There we go. Now, in order to do this one, we already have the line pretty well drawn. I'm going to line up, let's do it this way. I'm going to line that up, make sure that my lines, okay, and I'm going to move this to where it looks like it's in the middle, and you can go both ways. One up to this tick, one down to this tick that's cut. And you've taken that out. So as you can see, that lays in there. It's just a little bit tight. So when it does that, sometimes I will get my scissors. I don't want to cut too much, but I will just do a very, very light trim. And I'll try it again. And I'm going to do it on the other side. I didn't do it enough. I should have gone in just a little bit further. And just a very, very short piece. You can kind of see. I didn't take much off at all. Okay, so let's try it again. Oh yeah, much better. That fits very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away for now. And I'm going to erase these lines because this is on the inside. It's not going to be covered with anything pretty. I have a nice eraser. It's out in my living room for when I work out there when my husband's watching TV. Okay, so I'm going to smudge. I like smudging. I think I've told you girls this before. I love to smudge. It's just relaxing. I could sit all night. A lot of times I've done this too. I've gotten things cut and ready to glue in, and I'll just sit while we watch television at night, and I'll just smudge. Okay. There's some ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and tip it over, and I'm going to put my glue. And this glue is coming out faster out of here. I think it's because I had some clots, some glue clots in my nice art glitter glue bottle. And this is coming out so much better. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to get this placed before I push down. There we go. This mat, if anybody's interested, I got it from Kia, and it was only like, oh, I think $4.99, $4.95, something like that. I don't remember, but it was really cheap, and I put some clear contact on it, so I'll rip that off someday soon because it's really getting messy, and then I'll just replace it with more contact paper. But it's silicone, so it's really nice. It's textured on the bottom so it doesn't slip, and the top is very smooth. But Kia has them. IKEA, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's our inside, and you can kind of see when it's sitting somewhere, you can see a little bit of that pretty paper. Not much, but just a little bit, and it finishes it so nicely. So the other thing that I do that the girls didn't do is I'm going to go ahead and cover these before I start gluing things on. Just makes it look a little bit more finished. And I think I'm going to use some of the green. So I will do one section at a time. I'm going to start with the littlest. Now we know this is about 3/4 of an inch. So And how wide is that? So it's 2.5. So basically, I'm going to cut my 2.5 side, only I'm going to do it just a little bit smaller. There's 2.5. I'm going to bring it back to 2 3/8. And I'm going to cut. So what that tells me is it should fit. And so now all I have to do are do the little cuts. So let's go ahead and do that. So we said this was 3 1/4, yes. Now you're welcome to measure, or you're welcome to, we've learned how to do this, lay this in here where you want it, and then tick it, put a paper tick mark. And most of the time I do really well with that. I get almost better results, but I'm going to try and do it this way. So I have 3/4, and I think I'm going to start with the ivy. Oh, let me put this on here so that, see, it's already started drying. I like these little bottles, and then they're throwaway if they get nasty. So let me push those out of my way. And we know that it's 3 1/4, so I'm going to bring it just a little bit on the other. I'm not even going to take it down to 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to take it between the 5/8 and the 3/4. And I'm going to cut it. And before I start smudging it, I'm going to lay it there to make sure. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and smudge that. I need more ink. It got cold here. I've been wearing a sweater the last few days. Okay, there's one. So the next one, I'm going to alternate. I'm going to do one of the ivy and one of the green. Do this with whatever paper you have. It's just way cool. So this is 1 inch. So I'm going to do just a little bit below, between the 1 inch and the 7/8 of an inch. And again, I'm going to go ahead and smudge everything. And I'm going to try and keep these in order so that I don't get confused what I'm doing. So there, I'm going to put them on my computer. You can still see them, can't you? Okay, so that's the second one. The third one is about 1 1/4. It's between 1 1/4 and 1 1/8. So, and I'm doing ivy. So it's between 1 1/4. So I'm going to take this one down to 1 1/8, but you do your measurements. Measure and see where you need to do it. Okay, that's the next one. And then the biggest one is just about 2 inches. So I'm going to flip that, take it to my 2, and then back it off just a little bit. Okay, so I will smudge that. You know what? I need to get my, it's starting to get a little ratty, my sandpaper. I'm going to sand off a couple of those little edges, and then I'm going to smudge, 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 smudge. How many of you are getting snow right now? I like the first couple weeks of snow, and then with arthritis, I just want to quit. Okay, so we know this one goes here, so I'm going to start with that one. I like snow for Christmas. We live in the Treasure Valley in Idaho, and it's considered the banana belt. And the reason they call it the banana belt is because we have such mild weather. My dad lives in southern Utah, and he's really shocked that we have nicer winters than they do down there. And he's almost, I'd say he's probably not quite to I-70. He's just a little bit north of there. Okay, that's one. Let's do the next one, and I'm going to check it just to make sure because I didn't check them all. And I can try, there we go. Oh, that's going to be pretty, I think. I hope. Let's do the next one. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to keep them as close as I can in line on the sides too. Just make it look a little bit neater. It's not necessary, but I'm in the mood to try and be more perfect today. Okay, laugh with me, that's funny. Because everybody knows how imperfect I am. I am perfectly perfect in the imperfect way that I am. Okay, so those are in. So I'm going to go ahead and this one goes down, up, up. So you can kind of see, and then if you look down there, you can see they're different. Ooh, I kind of like that. So this is just an extra that we're doing because they didn't do this on the video on Graphic 45. I like Graphic 45. I wanted to focus on Nitwit's papers this year, and I'll probably do more Nitwit's this year. But I've also gone ahead and joined their card club, Graphic 45's card club, and they send you usually an 8x8 package of their papers and sometimes ink, a stamp, and they show you how to make cards, and this is one of the cards they did with one of the other sets of papers. And I'm just playing right now, so I'm not really using all of Graphic 45 materials, but starting next month, I'm going to get their kit for the cards. It's $35 a month, and you get 10% off if you order other things, you're shipping. And let's see what else. They also have a big kit that usually they make either an album like we're making or something pretty for the house, something bigger. And you get the 12x12 sheets and other things. You can go to their site and look at some of their things. It's really kind of a nice little site. Okay, so this is getting to be a longer video than I thought, but that's okay. So we know that we have 1.5 inches, and I'm going to mark exactly where these are, and I'm going to cut on the other side of them. So the other thing that I want to do is I want to put a mark right here, and this one I'm going to go the whole way through because this is our stop line. And I did that very lightly. You can barely see it. So I'm going to put that across here. Oh, let me put my lid on my glue, girls. See how perfect I am? I'm so very perfect. Okay, so we know that this is about 1.5 inches. And if I put it here at the 1 3/8, it's right on the line. So I'm going to move it just a little bit. I'm going to move it so that it's this way just a little bit. Now I want to stop there, and we've learned how to do that. And actually I'm going to go just a little bit further. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to move it over just a little bit. And I'm going to cut just a little bit past my line. Okay, so my line is almost 1 1/8. So I'm putting it on the line. I'm going to move this to the middle between those two cut lines, and I'm going to cut 1 2. There you go. So I think we're pretty much done with cutting. Let's go ahead and smudge this. Now when I smudge the corners, I kind of, and then I'll push one of these go a little bit smaller at the top and then a little, not much, you can barely see it. But if you find a place that's sticking over your wood, if you stick that in the corner, it'll smudge that corner really nicely and you won't have bare spots. And I'm doing that, so I'll show you this. I'll take this closer to the camera so that you can kind of see. So can you see how it's smudged a little bit? A lot of times when people smudge their corners, they don't quite get ink that falls into the corner. So that's one of the tricks that you can do. And I need to erase those pencil lines. You don't actually need to erase them because you're going to put some decorations on it. But let's be OCD today and do it anyway. Okay, where's my pencil? There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and erase. I should have done this before I smudged, but that's okay. Worked out pretty nice. Okay, so then we're going to put this on the front. Make sure that you can see these, and we're going to put that on the front. And then we are ready to go ahead and decorate. And I'm going to just show you a few little things that you can do. Okay, I don't put a lot of glue because this is really kind of liquidy. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm going to use my hands first and push it down. And then I'm going to go ahead. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So I might turn it over this way because when I do it this way, I'm still bumping over more paper. And so in order to get it really tight, if I turn it over upside down, then I am just pushing on the paper that it's attached to and not over these little humps. Okay, so that looks good. So, two things. So we have these chipboard pieces. You can use any of these chipboard pieces anywhere you like and decorate them. A lot of times when you have holes, such as this has a hole, I guess it would go like that. A lot of times you can use these little round pieces to hide that hole. And you can see I did that right here. Okay, the other thing that you'll want to think about is when you cut out the chipboard, sometimes there are these little, I don't know if you can see them, there are these little bumps from where it was attached. And so to make it really look pretty, you'll just want to go ahead and use your sandpaper board. Oh yeah, there we go. And they're all gone. So then I would put that there, and then I'll do the same thing with this little button. The little buttons are hard to get because they're so tiny. I want to scrape my fingers. Okay, and then that would go on there. So I'm not going to do that because I want to show you how you can use stamps. Let me put these back for now. And if you have stickers or stamps and you have some scrap paper, let's see, what do I have? Now let's try this. So I have this scrap paper and I have some really pretty stickers. So I actually like the bonfette. So I'm going to go ahead and take bonfette off, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it somewhere on here. Let me put it on the other side. Now there are, and I should have done this before I stuck it, but there are little holes that you can drag all of these little pieces out, and I don't know if you can see them. I should have done this before I stuck it, but you can kind of see it's starting to have black. like a lacy effect. And do that. And that. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Parent thing. Take these out before you stick it down, because I'm going to have to work harder to get these up now because they're stuck down. And I'm not going to do all of them, I'm just going to show you. So once you've done that, you can do a fussy cut. Where are my little scissors? I like those for... Oh, I can't find them, guys. I can't find my little scissors. Oh, and I like those things so much. They're so perfect for when you do something like this. Oh, there they are. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So then you can just fussy cut, or you can just do a circle if you want, or you can go ahead and this is fussy cutting. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be fun. And so once you get all of this cut out, and I'm just going to do the circle for now, I'm not going to glue it down, just to kind of show you what we can do. So I'm going to pretend that I fussy cut all of that. So then once you have that cut, you already have a backing. So because if you put the sticker here, this part is not sticking on here, but it'll stick in here. So we put it on the black backing, and then we put glue on it so that we can glue it halfway on, halfway off. And it makes it look cute. It's really kind of cute. Okay, so I'm going to let you decorate these, but you can see I've taken a bigger piece and put it in here. The other thing that I've done that you probably can't see really well, there you go. I've taken one of their, they always come with a strip, and I've taken one whole section of their strip to put on that one that shows up. And so, but decorate it however you like, and we'll do some more of these at another time. I just want to thank you for coming. I know some of you said you're more into cards, so I'm hoping that this will give you some ideas. These are things that you can also, you could glue this part and put it into one of your pages in your book, and then it would open like a card. All of this can be used. Now see, if this opens as a card, I would want to decorate all of this and make it look pretty like we did here. Because yeah, if you put this on a page and you open it, then you want this to look pretty too. Oh, neat idea. Okay, I hope you guys had fun. Thank you for joining. I appreciate the girls who have joined our group, and I appreciate coming here to help you. I hope this is helpful, and I hope we see you again. Bye-bye.